Oh, hi.
Hi.
Okay, everything's working. We talk, say words.
Hey, hello,
Uh,
friend.
cool. Okay, we haven't done an actual podcast episode for a while, so I've had to make sure it's all working.
Remember how to do it. We've been playing so much split fiction.
Which we were gonna do tonight if Emily didn't catch up on more AC Shadows, but she did. So,
I did. And now I have lots of thoughts and opinions to share about AC Shadows, and we're going to be chatting about it today.
hey, hi Drake, hi Voldy, how are you both doing?
Hey, guys.
Uh cool. Yeah, we plan on finishing Split Fiction relatively soon. We were gonna play Friday, right?
Yeah, we'll be playing Friday. We only have
Yeah.
about 3 chapters left, so we'll probably be playing Friday and then 1 or 2 more times, and we'll have it beat.
Sunday, Monday.
Yeah, potentially.
Okay,
I think
sweet.
it should work.
Because yeah, we got to do this. We gotta finish it because that review's got to come probably next week. We're behind.
We're behind. We're behind. There's a lot going on. But before we get into AC Shadows today, we got a few pieces of news.
I have news too. So
Well, our news probably overlaps, and the biggest one being that today Nintendo announced a Direct for tomorrow.
yep.
Which is crazy because there's a Switch 2 Direct happening a week from today, which means we're going to be getting 2 Nintendo Directs
Back to back.
back to back within a week.
The final Nintendo Switch 1 Direct will be the Wind Waker Direct. I believe in it.
I want to believe that so terribly. Also, just hold on, Valdi, real quick. I see you talking about Heyman Abernathy. Love the reference. Do not spoil the newest book. I just bought it. I have not read it yet.
Okay. Those are words. You guys act like I can read. That's not fair.
The Hunger Games series. Have you seen the Hunger Games?
I have not seen any of the Hunger Games. No.
You've never seen the Hunger Games?
Nope.
Okay, those are great movies to start off. I mean, but there was a new book that just came out, and it's about one of the characters in their Hunger Games and how they won. And so he was naming the character, and I was like, "Oh shit, is he referencing the new book? If so, that's great, but don't tell me anything."
I did have a big crush on Jennifer Lawrence when I was in high school and college, but
Dude, watch Hunger Games. They're good movies. They're like, and they're. I was telling somebody else this the other day, like, out of all the book to movie dystopian adaptations that happened in that time, from like Divergent to The Maze Runner to that was the Percy Jackson era as well. The Hunger Games, I think, was the best done out of all of them. I think that was the series that brought everyone into it.
okay, that's fair. That's fair. I have no thoughts or opinions, but I will watch it at some point.
Watch them. They're not that bloody.
I mean, that's fine.
Really?
If they're made for teenagers, I don't expect it to be that bad. The last
No.
movie that it's in the similar vein, like young adult book to movie that I watched, that I remember watching, was the first original Percy Jackson film that was terrible.
Shut up. Shut up. How dare you?
You know that movie was bad. There was so much product placement. There was a
so
PlayStation
fun.
3 in there. There was an iPod.
So fun. That's like, as someone who loves Percy Jackson, that is a terrible book adaptation, but it is such a fun, cheesy film. I stand by that.
I saw it like twice in theaters because one of my friends didn't see it. I'm like, why am I watching this again?
So
This
great.
is so bad.
You should watch the new TV show now. Anyway, Nintendo Direct happening tomorrow. I think it's 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time.
So
10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time.
8 a.m. my time.
Okay. So we'll be chatting about that next time, along with the Switch 2 Direct. Fingers crossed, everyone do like a little prayer circle for Wind Waker. I want it so badly, you guys. I want it so badly.
I'm curious if they're going to talk about Metroid Prime 4 and the Switch
I don't know
1.
what they're going to talk about. This is so out of left field for me that I can't even imagine what we're going to be talking about.
Surprise, the Switch 2 is canceled. You've been bamboozled. This is the only thing
I saw somebody make a joke that it's like actually the Switch 3 announcement.
It's been that long that we're already at Switch 3 and the Switch 2 hasn't
Gotta
come
get
out.
ahead of Switch 2. So we'll see. We'll be talking about that next week. My only other piece of news is in relation to the game that we're talking about today, which
I
is
was going to talk about it. Yeah.
Oh, you want to talk about it now?
No, you can. You first.
I was just gonna say Assassin's Creed Shadows is now officially the second best-selling Assassin's Creed game of all time.
That's not what I was going to talk about. So great.
Right below Assassin's Creed Valhalla, It is second best selling of all time, and they've got, I think, 2 million active players right now. So it's doing pretty well, and I'm pretty proud of it.
Hello to Casey from YouTube. Casey, glad to see you're
Hi,
on the YouTube
Casey.
channel.
Thank you for being here.
Emily, I gotta get you on the restream so you can actually see both chats as opposed to just one.
That'd be great. I would
Yeah,
love that.
I can't do it now, but I'll figure it out at some point.
Would love to be included in the podcast someday.
Uh,
All right, Blake, what was your news on Shadows?
My news on Shadow. Well, first, let's go back to Switch for a second. There is a post from this morning from Polygon. You can win a Switch 2 from Polygon. I don't know the details on it yet, but go check out Polygon. There is an article on how you can enter to win a Switch 2. I will be entering because I do like Polygon, even though the best people at Polygon are now all gone. So
we do love Polygon. Hey, I think Rush Frushtick is still there. Chris Plant might still be there. There's still some good people there. Simone de Rochefort is still there.
There's only 4 people who matter, Em. 4.
Yeah, they're cool people.
The 3 McElroy brothers.
Well, there are only 2 of them there originally to begin with. Travis was never actually a part of Polygon.
Okay,
but
3 people.
2 of them have left, but there's still a lot of really great people. Brian David Gilbert has left Polygon. Jenna left Polygon. I think actually, anyway. Go check out Polygon. We still like them.
Yeah, we do. BGG is also on Dropout, so go watch Dropout. He does. I'm actually on Dropout now. So crazy. The other piece of news is AC Shadows related, and it's very funny. Emily, you said this to me earlier today. Oh yeah, we're gonna talk about what's that sound? Oh, it's from outside. Oh, there was a sound, and I thought it was through my headphones. So sorry. We're gonna talk about Swastikar himself, Elon Musk, tweeting at Hassan Piker, calling him a sellout for glazing Assassin's Creed, and he's like, he must get paid. And this was in response to some other guy saying that, you know, Ubisoft is paying all these people to glaze this game, yada yada yada. To which Assassin's Creed Shadows clapped back and called him out and said, aren't you the guy who paid a guy to get you so many levels in Path of Exile, so you're like the top player? And which has been confirmed.
So funny to me. Imagine getting ratioed so hard on a website you paid for.
Yep.
Like, he paid to own that website.
He didn't want. Remember, he was going to try to drop out.
He paid like over $400 million.
I think it was more than that.
To own Twitter, and he still can't successfully win a Twitter fight.
Nope. Hassan Piker even clapped back on his streams, and I think over a tweet, and he unblocked Elon after that too, and said, look, if you want to have a conversation, you have to come on the stream, but knowing you're probably not going to because you back out of everything, which he does. But the fact that AC Shadows clapped back, good for them. With everything held up against them, they're doing actually very well with Shadows. I expect Shadows to explode because people are realizing it's actually a decent game. So so that's the big pieces of news. I've gotten decently far in Shadows. I'm farther than Emily in Shadows. I've got about 7-8 hours in Shadows total.
I got 10 hours in Shadows.
How? Okay.
To be clear, very little of that has been playing the like intended storyline the game wanted me to do. Okay, so we're gonna switch to Shadows. Let me just give our little intro for Shadows for people who might not be super familiar with it. Shadows is the 14th. Hear me when I say that. 14th mainline installment in the Assassin's Creed series.
Oh.
Which is just insane. It's also insane that it took 14 games to get one set in Asia. Not even just Japan specifically, but set in Asia.
Well, let's talk about what the guy said during AC3.
One that took place in China in some mobile game or some whatever. It took forever to get here, and we've known they've existed. We've known the Brotherhood existed in these places forever. People have been asking for Assassin's Creed in Japan for at least 15 years. I remember the director of Assassin's Creed 3 making a really snide comment about how everybody just wants a game in Egypt in Japan, and those are the most boring and basic settings, and like they wouldn't work well for the series. And now here we are, and we have one in Egypt, and now we have one in Japan. So this has been...
The Egypt one and the Japan one are also both very well loved.
Yes.
I think
the Japan one, we'll see. Fingers
I
crossed.
keep seeing a lot of people say the protagonist from Egypt is still their favorite protagonist. It's a lot of people's favorite protagonist.
Bayek is incredible. Bayek is great. We do love
Then
support
why did you
Bayek.
want me to start with Odyssey before Origins?
Um, like Odyssey as a game better. Bayek is great. Cassandra's still my girl. I am a little more biased to the setting of Greece. I thought it was very pretty. I liked the storyline a lot. I still haven't even finished playing Origins yet, to be quite frank. I have 80 hours in it, and I still haven't beaten it. I think that's just a matter of personal preference. You might end up liking Origins better. I personally just really liked. But
Yeah, that's fair.
all that to say, this is a very long-awaited game in one form or another. Did it come a little too late? I don't know, because Assassin's Creed people have had such a mixed bag of feelings on the series as of late. But
To give my perspective as a person who has been out of the series for a very long time, I was obsessed with 1, even though people found it boring. I think 1 was a great entry point. I loved the whole 2 trilogy. I liked 3. I loved 4. 4 is fantastic. And then I played Unity. And Unity felt like such a stab in the back and such a downer that I'm like, I never want to play this series ever again.
bummer that like you liked what 4, 5, 6 games, and then one bad game turned you off to it
Well,
forever.
I actually looked at the reviews for Syndicate. I know Syndicate's Emily's favorite. I know it is. However, I looked at the reviews back then instead of trying it myself. I was like, okay, everyone's shitting on it. It's probably another Unity. I'm not going to try. And then that's when that's probably the point where I gave up.
And I'm not the only person out there who really likes Syndicate. There's a lot of people who really love Syndicate, and not even in like there's dozens of us, but I mean.
It's one of those things
Syndicate is, I think would say Syndicate is pretty well loved now, and like most of the Assassin's Creed groups that I see talk about it call it the last really good Assassin's Creed game. It has grown in people's estimation.
I know it's one of those games that like at first people are like, but then as time goes on, they're like, no, this was really good. We want this back. I like it. Same with Pokemon Black and White. It's the same type of situation there. But
also think another thing that Shadows had to overcome, I mean, just from the get-go, was the fact that Ghost of Tsushima already exists on the market, and they pretty much made an Assassin's Creed game that takes place in Japan, and so I think this one was going to inevitably face huge comparisons. Can Ubisoft do their own series better than somebody else did their own series? And I mean, obviously, there's been controversy with this from day one about Yusuke and having a black man as the lead in a game set in Japan, and
then a woman in my video game,
and a woman, the two things a lot of gamers hate: people of color and women. That's DEI, everybody.
Because that relates to video games somehow. But anywho, I'm not going to get into that.
People have not been Ubisoft fans. People have not been Assassin's Creed fans. And this was also meant to be the last of this type of game. So they switched gears after Syndicate to Origins, where they did the very big open world RPG setting, and people complained about that, and then they wanted the original style back. And so what Ubisoft basically compromised with was they're going to have one more of each, with Mirage obviously being the smaller world social stealth back to 2 kind of game, and now Shadows being the last of the open world big RPGs, and the next one, Hex, is supposed to be its own thing entirely, which I'm not sure what that's going to look like. So today we're going to be talking about Assassin's Creed Shadows. Neither one of us had beaten it. Both of us are at about under 10 hours. So we're going to be talking about first impressions, mechanics. We're going to be talking about how we feel about the intro to the story. We're not going to be spoiling much other than the inciting actions of the story. We'll do another review a few weeks from now when we beat it to let you know how we felt about the story.
Full review, like full actual, like girthy review.
Yeah. So with that in mind, let's get into it. Blake, I want to know, because you might have just heard Blake say, this is his first Assassin's Creed since Unity. I know he played a few hours of Odyssey a couple years ago, but obviously you didn't like that one enough to stick with it. So this is your first committed. You're diving in. You're gonna play all of it, Assassin's Creed, since Unity. So I want to hear what your thoughts are.
Yeah. So I'll start with this. I don't even think I didn't like Odyssey enough It's just that around the time I started Odyssey is when we started this podcast and reviews were the big thing. And like, it was like, no, I want to play these new games that I have to review versus this old game that I don't have to review. I will go back to it. It's on the backlog this year. Besides the point. It's a whole kind of new experience for me in the Assassin's Creed open world genre. Because, I mean, I've only was probably 10 to 15 hours in Odyssey, I think, is where you saw me stop.
Yeah, you weren't super far.
No. But with this one, I'm just under 10 hours, and I feel like I can get lost in this place. It is... I have open world fatigue, and I probably have been saying that for the last 10 years, but for some reason, they make it more accessible. To a degree, I have some gripes about the open world, but for the most part, it doesn't feel like it's too much. It feels like it's the right amount, like, of things to look for, and they don't make it a chore to look for things. Like, once you find a viewpoint, they're like, hey, there's all these items over here, and you can go explore them, but it's not 19 different things clustered into one thing. You have to see every single thing. It doesn't feel like that. One of my biggest complaints about modern video games, especially open world ones, is tiny text, too many menus, too many mechanics that make it confusing. Yes. I think this game doesn't cross that line. I think they're close to the line, but they have not crossed. I think they're at the sweet spot.
For the record, they let me turn my text up really big.
Oh yeah, they did. And they did.
I love that. I remember when I played Odyssey when that first came out. I remember actually making a spot on the floor with like a bunch of blankets and pillows so I could be closer to the screen because the text was so small and my eyes are so bad and I was so far away that I was like, I have to I played most of that game laying on the ground.
I think the last thing right now, a good example, and I understand it won Game of the Year, but I just don't get it. I'm playing The Witcher right now with Allison, and it is truly the definition of too small text, too big, too much to do, and too much to try to understand that you just can't grasp, and things make no sense.
Those are overwhelming a lot of the time.
It's incredibly overwhelming, and that's why a game like that just throws me off and deters me and pushes me away, unlike a game like Astrobot, which is simple to the point, and Balatro too. Simple to the point, you know what the objectives are, right? When you try to cram too much in for the sake of cramming too much in, it's problematic. There is a line though, and there's a sweet spot, and I think Shadows definitely hits that sweet spot because I don't feel overwhelmed. I do in fights because because I'm incredibly weak in fights, but other than that, pretty okay.
I will say I think that Ubisoft has learned its lesson in terms of adding too much bloat to their worlds. That was definitely a problem. I haven't played Valhalla yet, but that was definitely a problem in Origins and Odyssey. And that's a huge reason I haven't finished Origins yet, is because I wanted to hit all the markers on the map. But there's something like every 3 feet of like, you have to look at this, and now you have to look at this. And they had a lot of like, go into the tomb and get the scroll. And now there's another tomb, go into that tomb and get the scroll. It wasn't that there were all these diverse things to do. It's like they had a set of 3 to 4 things to do, and they had about 200 of each of those on the map. And so you were doing the same thing over and over and over and over and over again, but you got trophies for doing those, and you got like collectibles for doing those. And so I felt this like need to get all of it, and I just have progressed so slowly through that game because I would get so tired. And Odyssey, to a certain extent, had that same problem of just like filling out the maps with bloat. And so I think I agree with you there. I think Shadows has learned to cut back and pare down, and it's not so bloated and overwhelming.
Yeah. Running around the world just it's very, very, for the most part, seamless. Once again, when we get to gripes, I'll talk about my gripes about the open world. But for the most part, running around the open world is seamless, and getting to your objectives and finding what you're supposed to find is relatively easy. I will say I wish I've got to play more as what's his name, Yosuke? Yeah.
Is he?
Yeah, I know. Like, we played for him for like 10 minutes, and then he was gone forever.
I'm 10 hours into this game, and I haven't found him again.
Okay, but also you have not done any of the main story.
I'm so confused. I don't know where that boy is.
He's somewhere.
Sorry, when I'm typing, I'm just making notes of things that I want to mention that I haven't written down yet.
That's fine.
So yeah, I agree with you on this. I really like the open world. I think it's a really well balanced open world. It's beautiful. Let's just get that out there. It's
Yes.
insanely beautiful. Um, and if we're going to talk about the world itself and how it looks and how exploration is, Blake mentioned that I haven't done a lot of the main story, and that's true. And
True.
that's because I have just been spending so much time wandering Japan. And I think anybody who picks up this game will have a fun time wandering through Japan. But I think especially if you've been before, you really want to go, or like for me, when I lived there, there's just so many places that I've been to, and that, you know, the place that I lived is in this game. And it's like 3 buildings, because obviously at this point in time in 1590, that town was 3 buildings. But I got to walk into it, and it like said like now discovering Akashi, and I had a little fangirl moment where a place that I actually lived is in an Assassin's Creed game. Um, and I went to Kyoto, and they obviously have some like the really big temples and like the really big landmarks. And not only is that just really fun, I something I've always loved about Assassin's Creed is how well and how accurate they represent the worlds that they're showing you, and how easy they make it to kind of just be a little tourist in these places. And it also includes so much about, you know, you can find little codex entries about like the culture and the customs and the history of these places. And I just love that. I think that's an extra step that a lot of things don't do in open world, where you get to learn about that. And Blake, can you show the images I sent you? I wanted to like fangirl over these for a minute.
One moment, I have to move things. Okay, they're
So what Blake
moved.
is going to show you, I sent these to him a little bit ago. One is a photo I took when I was in Japan last year, and
Please
the
hold.
other is a screenshot I took today in Assassin's Creed.
So this is a screenshot she took today.
This is the screenshot of Kiyomizu that I took in the game today.
And here's the next one.
And then this is me there last May. So
This is
obviously
not you there because you are not in this photo. Nice try. Try
Okay,
again.
yeah, sorry. That was me holding the camera, taking the photo.
No evidence.
Um,
Didn't happen.
but yeah, I mean, you can see that they're pretty much exactly the same. It's like almost one for one, aside from, you know, Blake called it out trees. But you know, there's like 500 years in between the two photos. So maybe we give it a little bit of a break. But I think that's just such a fun element. Like I was just wandering through it, and I was fangirling and getting really excited about. So I'm loving the exploration, and I'm loving the world.
I have been confused about one aspect because I've done a lot of exploration as well. I have not. I've found maybe 2 side quests total.
Mention that. I have found, I think, one,
Yeah.
but there's not a lot. I actually wonder if maybe they took the reducing the world too far, because I haven't found any side quests.
Yeah, I found 2 total. One of them involving a dog that we both found. We love this dog. Another one is literally, it's not even a spoiler. It's the most generic, oh, kill this many bandits. That's all it is.
Oh,
And I haven't done that because I have to find them. I think I'm at 16 out of 25. Besides the point, like there's not many, and maybe it's because we're not at the point, the crossing point where we find Yosuke yet, but and maybe that will open up more then. But for the most part, it's not really
there's not a
happening.
lot. Yeah. There's even points where I've gone to a spot on the map and I'm like, there should be something here, right? Like, is there not like a side quest here for me to collect? So we'll see if that opens up. But otherwise, that's a little grape. I would like to see more side quests.
I will say I do like the mechanics they did for the viewpoints. Actually, being able to, uh, see new things that pop up, and maybe they did that in older Assassin's Creed games after Unity. I don't remember, but there's you
Um,
could see so far out about new areas you need to go, either a question mark for an area you haven't been to yet, or another viewpoint you can go find. So
if they did have it, it had to be new in Valhalla. It wasn't in Odyssey or Origins, and I don't think it was in Valhalla. It could have been, but I think that's a new one.
I know people love Valhalla, but I did not. Oh, I'm sorry. Or as the
Okay,
Facebook Marketplace post I saw last night, Van Halo. I'm not even kidding. Go look at it. Go look at our Discord, and you'll see it. I was perusing the Facebook Marketplace as one does, and some kid posted the game, says Assassin's
where?
Creed Van Halo in the friend one.
Oh, I see. I was on the wrong chat.
Yeah, I don't mind showing it. I don't mind just
I'm
showing
selling
it.
this Assassin's Creed Van Halo.
There it is. I'm selling this Assassin's Creed Van Halo for
And the worst part is they have an image, like it's spelled out for them.
Xbox. Right in front of their face. Oh god, why can't I fix
I
this?
wonder if that's like an autocorrect or something. That's funny.
Oh, it's ridiculous.
Halo's the actually this like pisses the writer in me off that selling this Assassin's Creed van is all lowercase and then Halo for Xbox is all uppercase.
It's misleading. Am I getting Assassin's Creed or am I getting Halo?
That's really upsetting. Um yeah, so let's talk about stealth and the in the combat system and all that. Because
Yeah.
you said that really sad and I was about to sing its praise.
I like it, but there are issues. There are issues.
Okay. Share your issues. Share your issues.
No. Share your likes first. We do the positive, and then we do
Okay.
the negative, and then we get back to the more positive.
I think this has hands down the best stealth in the series. And I don't say that lightly, and I don't think it's because it's just I don't say that because I think the other ones are really bad. I say that because they've added mechanics into this one that didn't exist in the previous games that have made stealthing a lot easier. Just for example, you can go prone now. You can go prone and like lay down in tall grass or even shorter like sections of grass, and that's like works really well. If you're inside of a building, you have a grappling hook, and the grappling hook is just great for getting around. Sorry.
Bless you.
Um, Grappling hook is just great in general, but then also if you're inside of a building, there are attachments on the ceiling that you can attach your grappling hook to, and then if somebody comes in the room even, you can still be above them and not get caught, and you can kill them from the grappling hook up there, and that's new. You can turn off lights to increase the shadows or make it so you won't be seen. If you're hiding behind like a partition wall or like a screen and the light is on, they can see your shadow, and if you turn it off, you have better stealth. You can swim through the water but breathe through a reed. There's just so many mechanics that they added to bulk out the stealth and add versatility to the stealth and give you way more options. And I'm loving that. I think that's a great addition, and I think it makes it the best stealth in the series.
The only issue I have with the stealth, and we'll talk about parkour later because there's an issue with that, but the issue I have with the stealth is that if I'm caught, right? If I screw something up and I'm caught somehow, I can get out of view within 5 seconds. It is incredibly easy to get out of view. Like I have it's a little too easy. I don't want it to be like super hard where you're caught, nothing you can do about it. But I mean, make me run around for it. I just got to climb to a roof, crouch, go around the other side of the roof, and they're like, "Where did he go or she go?"
Like that you gave them this like intense French accent.
I don't know. I'm thinking too much of the older Assassin's Creed.
I agree with you to a certain extent. I think for me, I still have PTSD to the days of playing as Ezio and diving under like a canal, diving in a canal in like Venice, and waiting for like 20 minutes for the people to finally stop chasing me and just hiding in the water and waiting for all of them to reset and be like, we'll just wait here. So I don't know. It's kind of been nice, but I do see your point that it's a little bit of a get out of jail free card sometimes.
Yeah, it's a little too easy. Though I do love the grappling hook and I like the swing mechanic of it. There's a lot of cool puzzles. I don't think you've found it yet, so I'm not gonna like spoil it. But there is a course that you might have to do later.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
That would be fun.
I guarantee you there's more. It was very, very fun, and but as for a stealth aspect, it's it's very, very well done. It's easy to hide around. I will say I struggle in the bigger areas where there are way towers and you have to like sneak past everybody to get to them. I have struggled sneaking up on people because there's not a lot of areas to do it without going out into the open verse being spotted.
Agree.
Huh?
Completely disagree.
Maybe there's a good chance I'm just really bad at it.
I mean, well, so like they have the boxes, they have the grass, and like what I've noticed, even like in the areas with you might not have seen these, but like in the open areas, if you're like in a garden and they've got like the platforms around it, like it's an outdoor garden, they have like little paths underneath the platform where you can sneak through and then slide into the grass under that. They also have like some of those little tunnels inside of buildings that you can get from like one end to another without being spotted. They have the grappling hook that you can go up. They have the wells that you can hide in.
Well, yeah, the grappling hook is relatively I have had some issues with the grappling hook where you have to be at a very specific spot for some things for it to like say, "Oh, you can use it here." That's it's a minor annoyance, and I kind of get it, but at the same time, it's like, okay, why do I have to be pixel perfect here? Besides the point. But yeah, I mean, the grappling hook I think works great. I think once again, I've been out of practice. It's not my specialty. And so maybe I'm just bad at it. But right now, it's I struggle finding places to hide. I do like the wells, and I do like assassinating people in the wells and then throwing them in said wells.
I think it's less about, I think in the old games, it was truly like get in a hay bale and then wait for someone to walk by the hay bale and then kill them or like whistle them to you. My strategy has just been to keep moving and like hide around corners or do what I have or jump on them or just keep moving and kill people as I go. That's better. Or like so today I tackled Osaka Castle.
Oh, I didn't kill everybody there.
It took me over an hour to do, and it was my favorite part of the game so far. But those were always like my favorite part of the Assassin's Creed games, and I like that in Origins and Odyssey and Syndicate as well, is when you get like a really big area and you have to figure out how to like progress to different sections of it, picking off people along the way so you don't get seen. So what I did actually with Osaka Castle was I snuck my way to the castle and then started top down until I got to like the courtyard and then just like went out that way. But you do get like really cool loot. You have to kill like there's 3 big samurai in the area and you have to kill all the samurai, and then if you kill the samurai you unlock a legendary chest at the top of Osaka Castle, and then you can go and get cool. But those are my favorite parts, is like the really big like fortresses essentially of like there's like 200 people in here. Make your way through it.
My favorite part of that is how early you've done it and you're not done with it. Sorry.
Finished it.
Sure. I'm not going to say anymore. We're going to leave it at that.
No, I know there's a quest that has to happen there because I did get like a bunch of quest items while I was in there. Like now it was like, I guess I'll save this for later.
Yeah.
And so I knew I was going to have to come back there, but I've like got all like the big stuff out of it. I don't know. I just wanted to go do it.
That's fair. That's valid. I haven't killed any of those giant areas yet. I just get the way tower and I leave and I book it. For the next thing, because I'm just trying to get levels. I'm level 9 right now. Let's talk about combat and parkour. Combat. We played 10 minutes of Yosuke, so we can't really talk about him too much. Though we know the differences.
He's the heavy combat. Like now he's not supposed to be she's supposed to be the stealth character.
Right.
Yosuke's supposed to be the heavy combat character. So he's the one with all the special skills and everything like that. So it's hard to have a conversation on combat. But to give context real quick before you talk about your feelings on the combat.
Yeah.
I will say that the combat is consistent with what they've done throughout the majority of Origins, Odyssey, Valhalla, and now it's pretty consistent with R2 and R1, and then you have some specials that you can pull every now and again. And
you have parries and dodges.
Parries, circle away to dodge unavoidable attacks. So all that to me felt pretty good because I was used to it from the other games. So now, how have you felt about it?
I mean, for the most part, it's pretty standard. I don't think it's groundbreaking. This is the only comparison I will do, because I think it's the only fair comparison. Is combat in that versus Ghost of Tsushima is the only fair one, and combat in Tsushima is the only thing so far that is significantly better.
Me?
Really? You didn't like the combat in Sushi?
I think that was actually like a pretty, okay, I'm not going to be like, you're wrong, everybody else is on my side. I think that was like a pretty standard opinion, was that it was pretty clunky, like changing between the different fighting styles.
Oh no, it was beautiful.
But that just depends on what you like. I personally, like so I was going to have us compare and contrast this to Ghost of Tsushima later, but I will tell you that I do think combat and stealth is where it does beat out Ghost of Tsushima for me. Yeah.
I don't agree with the combat. Stealth, I mean, obviously, but we'll talk about that later. We'll move on. There's really
it's hard to talk about the combat when we don't have Yosuke, who's the big combat character. So that's not really something we can fully compare and contrast at this moment in time.
I have 3 different types of weapons, and I only use the katana. That's all I can tell you.
Why?
Because that's what I know now.
Do you use your daggers?
Oh no, I use the kunai knives. Yeah.
Okay.
But I don't. I have the swinging scythe weapon, and then I think it is just a standard like dagger knife that you can use, but I have not used that. No.
Like a chain right
Yeah,
now.
that's the chain. That's the scythe chain.
That's what I've been using. It's
Uh Talk about parkour, and this is I think where all of my gripes are. Parkour for the most part feels very good. However, if you're going to give me a big open world, a big open sandbox world where I can go where I want, when I want, do whatever I want, yet I can't climb up the smallest little hill without sliding, and I can't Skyrim it up it, that's kind of annoying. It's a small gripe. I know. First world problems. Boo hoo. It's a pain when I'm just like, oh, I'm almost at the top. Oh, wait, slide all the way down. So sorry, try again. I just want to take the shortcut. Let me Skyrim it. Skyrim lets me do it. Breath of the Wild lets me do it.
the Wild does not always let you do it. Breath of the Wild lets you do it, but it also costs you stamina. And it also, if it's raining, you can't do it. If it's cold, you can't do it.
To be fair,
and
Skyrim you're not supposed to either.
They don't have the kind of landscape this game has. When they have those cliffs, they're very just straight up.
Yeah. With Skyrim, they are like.
That doesn't bother me because I'm not normally parkouring up those. That's usually I'm just trying to get to an objective, and usually I'm like, okay, this isn't the intended path, whatever. But I also had those moments in other games like Mass Effect Andromeda trying to like force my car up a hill it won't go up, or like a horse up a hill it's not supposed to go up. I think that's just classic open world of like, I want to get to where I want to go as fast as possible, and it's really irritating me that I'm not supposed to go this way.
Yeah, you're technically not supposed to do it in Skyrim either. You're supposed to like not Billy Goat it, but Billy Goating it is just so fun. If you can make it to the top,
Yeah,
it's very goofy. Especially if you do it with a horse, then you're just skilled. Besides the point, I think for the most part it's pretty tight. The only annoyances I really actually have that I think are annoying is that sometimes you're aiming to jump somewhere and nowadays just like, no, there's a hay down there. I'm gonna dive instead. Or water, I dive. I'm not gonna jump to that other roof. Dive. You want dive, right? Dive. No, I don't want dive.
That is really annoying. That is a classic Assassin's Creed. It hasn't happened to me yet, actually. I was going to say, I thought the parkour was pretty good because I have not had that experience yet, especially in comparison. Oh, something about the parkour is when she goes down and she does her little flip.
Yeah.
So cool. That's such a small little thing, but Assassin's Creed has stuck with the same parkour animations for like 10 games now. So the first time I had her jump off of something, I thought I did it wrong because it felt so different. And then she did the little flip, and I like squealed. I was like, "Oh my gosh, that was so cool!" But I will say it's pretty standard parkour for the Assassin's Creed series. But I think this one has been upgraded. I think the Assassin's Creed parkour is always a little frustrating to a certain extent. Not that that's an excuse. I think this has been some of the least frustrating parkour I've experienced, except for, I will say, on some synchronization points, because there's some that you don't just jump off the top straight into the hay bale. You have to like go down when you're on a pagoda. You have to go down a section first and then jump into the hay bale. And getting down that section, I often just fall or I lose health doing it, and then I have to go to the hay bale. It's not nearly as smooth as it is in some of the other games.
No, and sometimes because you're on a roof most of the time, you have to find where that hay bale is. You have to find the area where you're supposed to jump from, and it's which direction am I going? Oh, I'm going that way, but I want to go a different way. Why are we doing this?
It kind of loses the smooth, really cool feeling that you're supposed to get when you do a leap of faith, where you're like, where am I supposed to be going? How do I get there?
Yeah.
No. Yeah. But otherwise, I thought the parkour is pretty good so far.
The only other issue I had, and we'll talk about coffins later, is
you have an issue with the coffin?
Huh?
You have an issue with the coffins?
The second coffin. It's a part of the parkour. No, the coffins are great. It's just the parkour gave me trouble in one of them where I'm like, oh, I have to get in this water. Okay, let me jump in the water. No, don't jump side to side. Get in the water. No, now what? Get in the fucking water. And she won't.
Stealth-wise, it really frustrated me because in every game before this one, the stealth, like to go into stealth mode was circle, and they changed it to square, and that has screwed with me so many times so far. It's infuriating. It makes me so... I don't know why they made that change, but it makes me so mad.
I mean, hey, welcome. Cool. So that's general mechanics. I guess we get into like
Um,
the bigger meat and potatoes. We can't talk about story because you really haven't done any.
I mean, we can talk about the like inciting. I was gonna talk up to like the interaction, who the characters are. I also wanted to mention real quick before we go into the story, music.
It's
The
good.
music is very good so far.
It's very, very good. I love it. I think it's great. I think it's great.
There's been a few cutscenes. I watched Blake play through one of those the other night when he was streaming, where they've just had this really kind of like rock pop Japanese music that's just been very cool. And
It's
I wouldn't expect
montage.
it from this kind of game, but they weren't really afraid to throw it in there, and I really enjoyed that and appreciated that. It's been a nice mix up.
It's montage music. That's what it is.
It is. It's montage music, and I liked that. I thought it was a fun element.
Which does bring us to the, I guess, a good first point is I forgot what they're called, but they're little like meditation areas where you meditate and then you go look at Naoe's past.
And you like play through a chunk of her story.
Yeah, I've done about 5 of them now. I've done a lot of them, and they get progressively more intense as you go. But you learn, like the game when you start and the little bit you see, it has some context, but this adds whole new layers of context as you go through them about the past and her and what she went through and her father and yada yada yada. I'm sure Yasuke will have his own, but
I'm sure he was gonna say I really like that mechanic of it, but I also really enjoyed the like button thing that you do to get into it. So to explain it to you guys who are listening, it's essentially she sits down to meditate, and you have to, obviously she's trying to disassociate from the world around her and like get into her brain. And the way you do that is it sets a pattern of buttons for you to hit, and you have to hit them repeatedly in like a timely manner. And like the more advanced you get into it, the more the buttons disappear and fade away as she's getting more into her subconscious. And I really like just kind of the symbolism of that, but then also I think it's fun. I'm not very good at it, but I think it's fun.
oh, it gets harder. I've gotten to a point where, I mean, okay, so I mean the first time you do it, it's pretty standard. It's either your D-pad or your triangle, circle, X, square like pattern. After that, it mixes them a little bit. No problem.
Yeah.
It's triangle, right, down, square, whatever, something like that. We've gotten into the L1 R1 D-pad territory, and at the same time, the pace increases as you go. It starts slow, and now the pace is increasing, and so
I love that.
it gets so frustrating. It's like, okay, one more. Shit, I missed it. Gotta start over.
Well, you don't start all the way over.
No,
It
you
starts
don't.
with,
You
like,
don't.
Like section over.
Yeah. It gets kind of annoying, but yeah, it's not
I think
bad.
they're fun.
They're fun, and the story bits, they're not even like tiny, like just watch the story and you're done. Like you actually play a good 15-20 minutes of it.
Yeah.
Like things to do, things to experience. So I really enjoy those.
I was gonna say another mechanic I really liked about this game so far, which I did not expect from this game in the least. I was so shocked when they threw it at me. You have a hideout.
Yeah.
And you've had hideouts in other games, like in Syndicate is the one I think of the most, which was my favorite hideout because it's a moving train. And so the hideout constantly moves through the city as the train moves. And you have different collectibles you can put in there and whatnot. But this one took it to a whole new level. You have basically acres of land, and you can add your collectibles to the building, but then you can add more buildings. And not can you just add buildings, you can add little walkways, you can add paths, you can add trees, you can add rocks, you can add decorations. I just bought a parasol, a European parasol that I can put in my yard. And then as you explore the world, you can find animals. And every time you pet an animal, you unlock that animal for your hideout. And so you can put all the dogs and the cats and the deer that you pet in your hideout as well. And so I spent a chunk of time today as well laying down trees and little lights and rocks and paths, and because you all know me, I like decorating. I did not expect that from this game in the least. I'd never thought that was going to be a thing, and I had a lot of fun messing with it.
It's officially time to do my favorite segment of the show, where I pick on Emily. Crafting in other games, too much like Minecraft, no like. Crafting in AC Shadows, decorating. I like this.
You're not crafting. The trees, the paths, the decorations. I mean, you have to buy them from
Yes.
merchants, but otherwise they're all free.
I mean, you also have to craft. You
You
have to have
an
the
unlimited
materials to
number of
craft them.
trees, You have an unlimited number of lights, an unlimited number of paths,
You
an
have to have
unlimited
the
number of
materials.
animals.
Oh,
You
no.
don't need materials for those.
Oh, for the buildings you do. For the buildings
You
and
don't add a
shit.
new building, but like so far, all the 2 buildings we've done have been the 2 buildings I've personally done have been story. Like those that you unlock them through the story.
Wait, have you done the forge? Because I spent like 20 minutes trying to find wood for the forge.
I did the forge, but I didn't have to. To be fair, I had also done Osaka Castle by that point, and I had a lot of supplies from just like going through and looting Osaka Castle. So I probably didn't have to struggle with that. I mean, crafting has always been a thing in the last like 4 Assassin's Creed games, and that's not really bothered me because I do so much exploration. I just come across it naturally. And the 2 buildings where you need the materials to craft are story-based ones. I mean, but this has always been in the series. Like Ezio, in the second one, you have to craft and build the town back up.
I have officially triggered Emily. She's being defensive. Mission accomplished. We are good. We are done. We can move on.
No. You accused me of not liking crafting. What game have I not liked crafting in?
Tears of the Kingdom.
That's a completely different thing. It's not crafting. I have to hand build a mech. I don't want to hand build something. It's different from like, I have to get 10 sticks together. I got the 10 sticks. Boom, 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 boom. The game puts it together for me. I have to get supplies, and then I have to make it myself. And I don't have fun building things. I have fun designing things, but those are 2 completely different things.
Once again, I have succeeded, and I am done.
You're wrong. Somebody in chat said,
I'm not trying to be right. I'm just trying to get you riled up, and I've succeeded.
Like, having fun building mechs or machines is a completely different concept from a game.
Oh, it absolutely is. It absolutely is. I just like picking on you. We've been doing this for 2 years. When will you learn that it's bait? It's rage bait.
The rocks, the trees, the lights, the decorations, the animals, all those you have an infinite amount of. You don't have to craft them.
My face hurts. My face hurts from smiling so much. Emily will one day learn to ignore my rage bait, and we'll move on.
I will never. I'm too easily baited.
Hey, we have the intro to the episode now.
I have a hideout with like 500 dogs in it, and I think it's great.
The hideout mechanic is very, very good, and for the most part, materials aren't bad. The one thing I will complain about the hideout, because it is related to the hideout, but you can do it anywhere, is that I don't understand the scout mechanic. I don't, and when they refill.
I don't understand the scout mechanic either. I haven't figured it out yet. It's actually really frustrating for me personally because when you go through Osaka Castle, or like this is a story aspect. I went through and there were a bunch of supplies, and it was like loot supplies, and then it had like a little button that was grayed out, and it was like, you need your scouts to do this. And then I go on the scout thing, and that's not even an option.
Yeah, and sometimes you send your scouts out to locate where quests are for you because you need them to locate quests for you sometimes, and they're like, oh, we can't regenerate till the next season. You've used all 3 of us. We're done until next season.
I haven't gotten to that point yet, but I don't get this.
That's not even a story beat. That's not even a story beat. You will just naturally get it over time. It is incredibly frustrating because I don't get it.
I don't get what the point of it is. I don't understand it. On that topic of though, like we're having to wait for the seasons. I do like that the game has different seasons.
It has all 4.
It has all 4. But yeah, I have not figured out the scout mechanic yet.
Yeah,
that's maybe work in progress, I think.
It's kind of a pain. Skill tree is also I like it, but I wish there was a distinction between mastery point and knowledge point, because every time I do something, it's like, you've got a knowledge point. I'm like, great. Oh, that doesn't do anything. That doesn't.
The knowledge point levels, like, you can go to the next level of skills. So, like, a mastery point, think of a mastery point like a basic skill point. Like, I can unlock anything in row 1. And then when you get a knowledge point, it's like it unlocks row 2.
So, like,
you're leveling up what you can unlock, and then you use the mastery skills to unlock those things.
But why? Why not just, oh, you've unlocked the whole bottom row, moving on to the next.
That's what it does.
No, without the knowledge point. Why not just use the mastery points?
I mean, I haven't gotten the knowledge point yet because I haven't unlocked it. I don't think you can get, I think those are kind of in sync with one another.
I believe you.
So
It's just yeah.
also, it doesn't make sense to be like, oh, you unlocked it, now you can move up to that. Because sometimes I like that you can choose the knowledge points on what you want to unlock because not everybody wants to invest their skills in the same tree sets, and
You
that
mean the
gives you more
mastery?
variety.
You mean the mastery?
Yeah, you not everybody wants to invest like, I'm doing a pretty well-rounded one, so I'm investing in all of them here and there. But some people want to like do all the assassin ones right away or all the shinobi ones right away, and so having the knowledge point to be like, which one do I want to unlock? I don't know. That doesn't bother me.
Okay. I mean, it's one of the maybe it's because I has that been a thing in AC for a while.
Not no, but
And
don't.
you've also gotten knowledge points if you've gone to any points of interest and like done look at the little glitch areas. Like they give you knowledge points for doing that, or unlock anything in the codex. It will say you've got a knowledge point.
Oh, well, maybe this is reverse. Maybe the knowledge points are the specific skills and the mastery points are you go to the next level.
Well, mastery points because I always get a knowledge point. I'm like, oh, I can unlock, and I can't. I have to. I want to get a level up and get a mastery point though. I can't unlock a thing. So I don't. I think you're right the one way, but I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
I think that's just
We're still early in. It's just
yeah.
an understanding situation. This is my
Oh,
philosophy. If it's hard, if you explain it and it's hard to explain after you explain it, then it needs to be, fixed to some degree. Unless like only one person's confused. But
difficult though. You get the point, you unlock the thing you want, and then when you get the other point, you can unlock the next row.
oh, I'm talking more like now we're going back to because you understood and I didn't. That's the one person. I'm talking more like the scouts thing, like the
Oh
idea
yeah,
of the
I
whole
don't think
scout.
it's disgusting. I don't think anybody explained that to me properly.
Nope.
And I'm gonna have to look it up at some point because I don't know what it wants from me.
Look, I can't read, but if the reader doesn't get it either, then I know I'm not crazy.
No, I haven't figured that one out yet. In terms of story, it's fine.
Yeah, it's just fine.
I'm interested to see where it's gonna go
I think
and
it's too
how
early.
where the characters are gonna meet up and how their stories are gonna intertwine. There's certain characters I really like Junjiro, but
I will die for that kid.
it is so far a very standard Assassin's Creed story of someone I love was an assassin and I didn't know it, and now they're dead. And I want revenge, and now I have to kill the people who killed them.
It's a story
And
about how revenge is
so
never the way.
the people who killed them, it wasn't just one person who murdered them. They're actually part of this whole powerful group. So now I have to start with the weakest ones and then work my way to the top. And that has been the story for Ezio. It has been the story for Bayek. It in some part was the story for Cassandra. And for Jacob and Evie, they didn't have the someone I love is dead and whatever aspect of it. But they also had the
Unity, actually, shockingly, Unity's story was I was in love with girl, Romeo and Juliet. Oh, wait, this girl was evil and betrayed me. I want revenge on girl.
yeah.
So, in France, and they're French. So.
Connor had that as well. His mom dies, and so he joins the Assassin Brotherhood to get revenge.
Altair, I haven't played AC1 in so long, but I can't remember Altair's motives.
It's been pretty standard across the board, and I do think they mix it up from time. Like I said, Cassandra wants to get revenge, but I still really did like Cassandra's story, and I think hers was still pretty unique. But this one is pretty like almost embarrassingly so on par with Origins, which is slight spoiler for Origins. The beginning of Origins is Bayek's son being murdered, and he's murdered by a bunch of people in masks with distinct masks. And then Aya and Bayek decide they're going to take down all the people in the mask.
It's different this time. This time it's your dad.
It is your dad. That's true. It was also your dad in Assassin's Creed 2, and it was your mom in Assassin's Creed 3.
I'm sorry, it's not your dad. It's your Chewie? Chichue?
Chue.
Yeah, Chichue. Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm interested to know what's in the box. I'm interested to see how the characters are going to intersect. I did hear today that there's romance later on in the game. So we'll see. I like the options as well, the dialogue options and things like that. So I don't know. We'll see how the story expands and what it ends up being. But right now, it's a pretty run of the mill story.
Yeah. I think that's the only other area where I can say, where I feel at least, and you may feel different, that Ghost is better, is the story, but it's still early. It's still very early, so we can't say
Oh,
anything yet.
comparing and contrasting Ghost of Tsushima and Assassin's Creed Shadows. Obviously, we don't have all the facts yet. We haven't
Yeah.
finished the game, but my early thoughts were, I think in terms of looks, they're pretty on par with one another.
Yes.
Though I haven't gotten quite as many pretty spots yet in Shadows as I had in Ghost of Tsushima. In terms of gameplay mechanics, I think for me personally, Shadows wins out in stealth. The stealth was not nearly as robust nor well done
Yes.
in Ghost of Tsushima. In terms of story, I think it's going to be near impossible for this game to beat Ghost of Tsushima's story for me. I loved that. All of it was so
Someone
good.
posted the ending again to TikTok today, and I watched it, and I forgot, and I wanted to cry watching you talking to your yeah.
And like, there's so many like complex here, like Yukiri, what's her name? Yukiro,
Yeah.
or something like that, and your relationship with your uncle, Taka. Oh my gosh, Taka!
Am I gonna play Tsushima again?
Ghost of Tsushima's story for me it's really gonna be hard to beat that. The moment where you become the ghost fully and you unlock like that rage mode.
Mm-hmm.
And you got like just there's so many powerful story modes. And I'm not saying Shadows can't do it because we're still super early, but I think if it's gonna be hard for Ghost or Assassin's Creed Shadows to be any aspect of Tsushima for me, it's gonna be the story.
You get to name your horse in Tsushima, and granted, it's only a couple choices, but you still get an option. So
That's true. You do get to name your horse. You get to name your horse in Odyssey too. It's kind of weird for me that they didn't let you name your horse in this one. But
they also they showed the horse in the past sections, and then all of a sudden you whistle and she's like, "Oh, it's been a while since I've seen you, a couple of years," and your horse just is like, "Yeah, I just appear at it." They had no explanation of why your horse answers your whistle.
I'm confused about that aspect because didn't your horse die?
No, a different horse died. It is that your horse.
I thought it was your horse that died, and you were like using somebody else's horse. Like,
no, I just remember like we get the horse in the back seat, and I'm like, okay, cool. And then I'm running through a field, like press down to call your horse. I'm like, odd. I didn't think. Okay, press down button. It's like it's been a couple years since I've last seen you. It's like, how would he know to come? How did you know he was nearby? Like, what did you?
It's a weird story element.
It's like
I don't get it.
It's a little lazy.
I really thought my horse was dead, and I was like using my dad's horse or something.
It's a
I don't
little
know.
lazy.
Yeah, it's a weird non-explanation that probably could have used an explanation. But yeah, I will say, so far it's not the sweep for Ghost of Tsushima I thought it was going to be. I think Shadows is holding its own. I think it's a really good game so far. I'm really enjoying it. Going through Osaka Castle today really put me over the edge where I was like, now I'm in it. And I'm really excited to see where it's going to go. And I will say I'm glad that we have both Tsushima and Shadows. I know we've done a lot of comparing them, and I know there's been a lot of people comparing them and which one's going to be better and do we need both. But for the reasons that I said before, I think Assassin's Creed Shadow wins out for stealth, but I think Ghost of Tsushima has such a powerful story. I'm glad we can have both of them.
I think it's okay to have both, especially because we know neither are going to compare to how good Yotei is. And Yotei is going to be one of the greatest gaming experience we've ever had in our entire lives.
So we'll add, I do think it's a little unfair to compare Ghost of Tsushima and Shadows just because Tsushima, for how incredible and impeccable its story and graphics are, did take most of its gameplay, the core gameplay mechanics and outline of the story from Assassin's Creed.
It is heavily inspired.
So, I mean, everything, there's like a whistle. There's a whistle. You can hide in hay bales. Like, it is essentially an Assassin's Creed in Japan. And it's still one of my top 10 games of all time. But
it also is not fair because, Ubisoft works on, a couple games a year, like 5 to 6 games a year. Sucker Punch only has to deal with one every couple. They only have to focus on one. And because of that, they never miss. And every game has been a banger since Sly Cooper. Okay, I'm done.
Oh no, we can have cheap viewers.
Okay. No, Em, click the link. It's real. Please, it's streamboo.com.
I had one more thought. Oh, I was just gonna say, I know Ubisoft, people have a lot of feelings about Ubisoft. They kind of been killing it for me lately.
Oh yeah, Outlaws.
Star Wars Outlaws. I've been a real Ubisoft girly lately, so whatever they're putting in the water, I'm drinking it. And even if it's poison Kool-Aid, I'm drinking it, and I'm having a really fun time.
Yeah, I'm not the biggest Ubisoft fan. I never will be. However, I will give it to them right now. It's a pretty decent game. They're doing good, but I gotta see more before I can actually like give a full like this is great or this is just fine. So
I'm ready. I'm ready to play more of this. I'm like into it now. When I went through Osaka Castle, that was so much fun. I can't explain enough. I know Ubisoft has gotten crap. I know Assassin's Creed has waned over the years or hasn't done enough new things. The core gameplay mechanic of stealthing your way through things is so much fun to me, and I get so much satisfaction out of strategizing
yeah,
that they could do this for probably 20 years and I wouldn't get sick of it. Like figuring out, okay, I have this many knives and these guys are all around the edge and I can kill these guys with the knives and then I'll have to like lure that guy away and then I can take this up. That's just so fun for me.
and side note, if you are enjoying Assassin's Creed Shadows and anyone mentions but the DEI, smack them. That's all you need to do. Just smack them and remind them that games are fun and fiction
Just like to be
can be
fun.
fiction. And they don't know what DEI means. And that's all
And
you
if
need to
somebody
say.
tells you that it's weird that to have a black samurai in Japan, just remind them that Ezio once used a magical apple to kill the Pope.
True, he did. I did that.
Just also remind them that Cassandra in Odyssey, remind them that her father is Pythagoras. And she discovers Atlantis in one of the DLCs.
Oh, thanks for the spoilers, M.
The DLC.
Oh no, the Pythagoras spoiler.
I think that's also the DLC. I don't know. That's not a big spoiler. It's not that exciting. But just remind them of those things.
Oh.
Please. You also fight Medusa at one point. Like, guys, come on, man. Let it go. I mean, Evie and Jacob get knighted in Syndicate by Queen Elizabeth. It's not that deep. Let it go. The series is not his. There's a branch off of DLC of Assassin's Creed 3 where George Washington becomes an uber powerful evil dictator with a Apple of Eden, and he builds a pyramid in Washington D.C. and takes over the world, and then Connor uses spirit magic to transform into different animals to kill him. It's not that deep. Let it go.
It's called historical fiction. Fiction. Yeah. Thank you.
Fantasy fiction at best.
Yeah.
So, just let it go, guys.
I mean, you don't remember when George Washington built the pyramid? I remember.
Yeah. Critical history point when George Washington actually changed DC or New York or whatever it was at the time and made it a giant pyramid.
Yeah, I remember that. It was a very, very iconic moment in history. If you'd actually crack open a book and read, you'd know that. So.
Yeah, me. I never crack open books and read. I mean, we're only at like 25 for the year.
You know me. I'm the big reader. I'm at 0. So.
Let me double check that stat real quick. We are at 25.
Wasn't your goal 52?
Yep. We're almost halfway through my goal. And
you one more and you're halfway there.
One more and it's not even April yet. So
and you know what else? And you know what else? She still hasn't started Persona 3.
I haven't, but I've started Assassin's Creed Shadows and I started my replay through of Ghost of Tsushima.
She also hasn't started 13 Sentinels, and I, at this point, have given up on believing she
will.
I
have started 13 Sentinels.
Like the first 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. Technically, you have started Persona 3, but once again, the first 10 minutes.
Yeah, I'm going to get into them. I swear. I go through phases where I either play video games or I read, and I'm in a reading phase right now. But I'm going to get back into video games. I got to beat this. Then I'll probably maybe take a break, because Ghost of Tsushima might be too on the nose after this one. So maybe I'll break it up with 13 Sentinels or Persona 3.
Just get ready. They're Atlas games. Well, 13 Sentinels is short. It's like a standard game. Persona 3 is long. But AC Shadows is also going to be very long. Like, it's going to be a 100-hour experience. We know this.
I would bet that. All of them, aside from Mirage, which was the outlier, all of the new ones have been like 100+ hours.
Oh, God, help me. My backlog
I was just looking today. I think I put like 150 hours into Odyssey.
Oh, I thought you were about to say Origins and be like, and I'm still not done.
No, I have 80-ish hours in Origins and I'm still not done. And I don't remember a ton about the story at this point. That one's a real kind of just slog for me. There's so much to do in that world, and I just get really worn out doing it.
Can we be done with open worlds? I'm so over it at this point. Like, it was fun back in the early 2010s, but it's 2025 and I'm old and my back hurts and I don't have
I
time.
like some open worlds. They just have to be like, I can't do that many back to back, and they have to be done well. They need to not be so bloated. And that's why I'm liking this one, because it's not very bloated. It's very
Not yet.
specific areas.
Not yet.
Not yet, that's true. They could add more. But yeah, overall, I think people, myself included, have underestimated the quality of Shadows or what it was going to be. Obviously, we haven't beaten it yet, so we'll be back in a couple weeks when we do beat it to give you our final ratings and reviews and let you know how we think it stacks up.
And remember to tune in next Thursday. No, we're not doing Thursday. We're doing Wednesday next week. Remember to tune in next Wednesday when we're going to be talking about both directs. And then maybe if we have the time, which we probably won't, we'll probably review Split Fiction. But we could do an extra long episode if you have the time. But if you don't, it's fine. It's no big
Yeah,
deal.
we'll figure out. We're going to be playing Split Fiction over the next week or so. We're going to be finishing that up, and then we'll be talking about Split Fiction in a review, and we'll also be talking about the directs. So there's going to be a lot going on in the next week.
Remember,
so
we said directs as in plural.
directs, as in multiple. I was trying to explain that to somebody today, where I was like, Nintendo announced a second direct. You get that? And they didn't seem to understand how wild it was, the fact that there were going to be 2 Nintendo Directs within a week of each other.
Yeah.
I was like, no, you don't understand. They only do Directs like maybe 3 times a year. And now we have 2 within the span of a week. That's really wild.
I told Allison, she's like, why not just move it all to next week or tomorrow? And I'm like, I don't know. It's not for me to tell. Not my decision.
Yeah. There's a lot going on. But we'll be covering it all and we'll be talking about it. So thanks for hanging out with us and hearing about Shadows. I'm probably gonna turn off podcasts and go play some more.
Yeah, thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe and like this video. If you're watching on the YouTube, go follow our Twitch channel, twitch.tv/Podstation64. You can find me at twitch.tv/TheBeardedBlake and Emily streamed once over the weekend, which was shocking. Twitch.tv.
If there's anything that can get me to stream, it's a new game I really want to play. And I played all of Silent Hill 2. I forgot what the title was. And now I'm playing, well, I'm not playing Shadows on stream. I did one Shadow stream, but we got some horror games coming up soon. I got some indie ones I could pull out of the woodwork.
You can find her at twitch.tv/EmilyJane33.
Time.
Yeah, given how slow the year is going to be, so at least so far, which I said this last year and then last year it exploded. I'm planning after these reviews because I don't know what else is coming out that other than Yote that I'm ready for. So we might have some more collabs, but we'll see. We got to talk about it. So, okay, everybody.